I'm Tiffany, this is Michelle, and we just completed Turning Sensitivities into Strengths, owning and honoring our gifts as empaths and sensitive people. And we just wanted to share some of our favorite parts with you because we feel so good today, and we just wanted to be with you with it. So, you start. Maybe we could just go back and forth, like I'll say a part, you say a part? Okay. Mm-hmm. So, I love seeing the change in people's faces. Like how they were Saturday morning versus Sunday evening. It's like the darkness lifted and like vitality and youth showed up.
Oh, that was really cool. It was one of my favorite parts too. It was amazing how, as people understood more about their own presence and possibility and sensitivity, the more they understood how to be with themselves, and then they could be with other people in a different way and be more open and available. It was amazing to watch that change from Saturday morning to Sunday, how much more they could communicate and be together.
Yeah.
In a really wonderful way.
One of my favorite parts was having the participants notice that it was harder to receive positive emotions than it was negative emotions.
That was really interesting, yeah.
So to give you a little background, we did a lot of experimentation and kinesthetic work where we got to practice being with certain emotions and feeling each other's energy and bringing emotions into someone's space and having them discern it and receive it or not receive it. And the funny thing was, happy and love and some of the positive emotions were harder to receive for many of the participants, and how much that was an aha moment to them because it's completely affecting their life.
Yeah, it was really interesting how much more uncomfortable people were in letting love in. It was interesting because they could be with sadness or they could be with tension. But to actually allow someone close to them with the truly deeply felt, intentional emotion of love, there was so much more discomfort around love than there was sadness. Sadness was a simple thing. It was really interesting and it was so important. Mm-hmm. It's so important for us all to get that we attract what we truly need and want, and we have to be comfortable with that. So it was really great that they finally got comfortable with love. Oh my God. Oh.
Love and happiness, and we didn't let them off the hook until they got there. Because we're both clairvoyant, we could feel, we could see energy, and we could tell when they had their walls and their shields and their guards up and their self-defense, like protecting themselves from love, like, oh my gosh, it could hurt me, and it has hurt me in the past. And then we did so much healing, lots of healing. Group healing, individual healing, and getting people's innards all cleared out and in alignment in a totally new way.
Yeah, that was important, through all the healing that did happen. It made things possible for people. Their sensitivity actually became more and more of a strength as they experienced being cleaner, being able to sort better what was theirs and what wasn't theirs was a lot more obvious once we did a lot of the healing, and the fact that we gave them the capacity and the tools to go home and continue to do that healing themselves in a really simple, very applicable, very tangible way that they can feel healthier through their own application of healing and practicing.
Mm-hmm. Another one of my favorite parts was money space. We got to work with the money space and doing clearing on scarcity and poverty and things that are blocking the flow of prosperity and abundance and money. And and it was just great to see how much they would shrink their money space and then expand it and then shrink and then expand it until they finally got comfortable where it could stay open to receiving money.
Well, and it's interesting because, yes, we talked about money, but when you say the word prosperity and poverty, there's many forms of prosperity and poverty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, going back to the kind of conversation we were having around happiness and love, there's a belief that there's a scarcity when you start to get positive and really wonderful and warm emotions. There's this strange belief that there's a limit. There's a limit to that. So there's a poverty around feeling loved and adored and happy. And it's so sad. It's so sad that, as well as our money beliefs, live so closely together. When in all honesty, there's a lot of prosperity. There's an abundance of love and happiness, and an abundance of money. It seems that we, for some reason, have gotten really comfortable with the scarcity or the lack or the thought of poverty around that. And it was just great that this weekend had so much of that aha in it, and the ability for people to at least start to think about that life could be a lot different than that. Mm-hmm. That there could be an abundance of the emotions that you really want to have, and an abundance of flow and prosperity and money. It was nice to see people walk out on Sunday with a different perspective on those aspects of their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was that awareness and illumination, because most of the people in the room have already been working on themselves. They've already been in the arena of self-transformation and evolution and self-improvement and things like that, but yet they were finding all of these places within them that were not comfortable with money or love or happiness. And really getting a visceral, tangible experience of being able to hold their space, have their sense of being, and let in what they want to let in, and receive that, and let it get close to them and inside them, and not let in the things that are not appropriate. Mm-hmm. Like a boundary, and actually holding their space and being able to discern what is healthy for them and what isn't. Yeah. What's compatible with them.
Well, and that's, I love that. And I love the fact that we truly do it in a it's a kinesthetic, experiential experience. It's not structured as information in, information out. We give the context of an idea, we give a context of how there's a presence of your being and a sense of boundary around your sense of being. And we take the time to over and over and over again give you the experience of allowing into that space of your being, your presence, what you want, and just really firmly and clearly hold out what you don't want. And it takes the defensiveness and the anger and prickly disagreement with life away, because when you truly get a sense of your own being and your own presence, you can see things coming towards you so much further away, and you get to truly get more choice in your life.
Mm-hmm. And coming at you from in front of you, behind you, from the sides of you. So you're not caught off guard and like, oh my gosh, life is attacking me. Like they're using that intuition, like really building that intuition muscle to feel and be present to the space around and what's coming.
Yeah.
And still being present in that moment, so it's not like, anticipating something.
Correct.
In the future.
Yeah.
And another favorite part was seeing them heal themselves. Because, I can do healing on people all day long and do it, in my business, but it's like that saying, teach a person how to fish and they can fish for life, but if you're just doing all the fishing for them, yeah, you feed them for that meal, which is great, but let's also teach them how to fish.
Yeah, it was wonderful, the healing part of that, and we also got to spend time teaching them how to hold the presence of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most valuable things I ever teach people on a regular basis is how to be their own special, unique self. And it was nice this weekend to actually be able to see them walk away on Sunday with a tangible understanding of what that really meant.
Mm-hmm. Because energy and space can be elusive. It can be tangible for some people and not for others, and they got it. Like, they got it. No uncertainty, no doubts. They had it in them. Like, oh, I've collapsed my space. Okay, let's reclaim it. Let's reclaim our space. And then feeling all those different kinds of energies, which can be elusive, and how it shows up, how they react to it, and then being able to do all the healing and clearing, and then them not being triggered by it.
It was really wonderful that they got to experience that with a variety of people. They participated with each other, so different people have a different way of expressing a particular energy.
Yeah.
And there was so much possibility for people to experience them at different levels, at different frequencies, at different expressions. And it was a participation and a continual experience of, I can do this. They actually spent a lot of time really experiencing for themselves how much they could actually hold their sense of presence and their sense of being, regardless of what was coming at them.
Like, they could take responsibility for it and not be a victim to it. Like, oh, that person wiped me out because of their funky energy. No, they could actually take accountability and responsibility for their self, for their space, and not blame or judge or criticize
someone else.
Yeah, like there was a whole new level of acceptance. Acceptance of all kinds of energies.
Because the truth is, no one collapses you but you. No one gets wiped out but you.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful to see people really be able to understand the truth of that and be able to get stronger in the fact that's really possible. That no one can wipe you out. So, it was a great weekend. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pleasure.
Same here. I loved teaching with you. It was fun. We were in the flow. We just knew when it was my turn or your turn. It was simple. Because we each bring different gifts. Like there's some overlap, but then there's our strengths. You know?
And we're good at honoring each other's
yeah.
strengths.
Yeah.
We're good at honoring each other's strengths. And so I thank you. I thank you for the vital component you are in making what we did this weekend work. Because if people don't clear out old beliefs, old patterns, old thoughts, there's no space for them to be a new being, a new person, or have a different presence, or be present to themselves. And so I thank you. Thank you for the gift and the strength in which you create what we had this weekend. So thank you.
You're welcome. And I thank you for just being so damn good at holding space. Because you've been such a teacher to me in that area. It's like I can see clairvoyantly into people and see where they're not holding space within their body and outside of their body, and I can see where there's pain or some sort of energy block and remove it, and yes, help them to reclaim that energy in that space so they can be present there. But there's a whole new level and dimension that you bring to it that gives me greater access to then help more people. It's like different levels of refinement and different radio frequencies to be able to tune into, and it's just a beautiful blend, like so complementary. And you've been life-changing for me. There's been a lot of lessons that I've learned along the way. Some, I was bucking and kicking and screaming along the way because it was uncomfortable, but I always knew that it was okay to be uncomfortable with you. Because I knew you had my back. And so that's just been like our life journey together. And I think because of that, there's just so much more solidity. Yeah, it's like we can go through hell and back and be fine.
We'll be okay.
Fine. And yeah, I value you, and I value your friendship, and I value being a co-leader with me on this journey so we can help even more people. Thank you.